You do not have to do every single thing yourself. As a small business owner or a freelancer or solopreneur or whatever, there are so many tasks that take up your time, and there are so many tools that you can use to automate them. I've been a freelancer since 2015, so I have a lot of experience on where my bottlenecks are for my business and what takes up the most time and what I need to automate. So I'm going to be sharing my top 5 must-have automations that I use to run my business. Now, keep in mind, these are going to be different for you. You might not need some of the automations that I'm about to outline. However, in my experience, I've found that there are a lot of business owners who have similar needs. So buckle up and let's talk about the top 5 automations that I literally could not live without for running Bad Axe Enterprises. First up, a way to get money. I feel like all business owners should have this, and it should be really simple and should not take a lot of work from you. Going back and forth in emails and saying, okay, well, here's my Cash App, here's this, here's that, manual requesting of cash from somebody takes time, right? Like you may think like, oh, it's no big deal, I can just do it really quick. It's amazing how much time it saves when you're no longer chasing that money and you have a system in place to support sending proposals, getting payments, invoicing, all of those things. There are tons of different ways to do invoicing and proposals. Personally, I use HoneyBook. I love the platform in general. It integrates really well with QuickBooks for my bookkeeper. That's super important to me. And it's easy to use for my clients. Above all else, like, yes, I want the system to be easy to use for me, but it also needs to work well for them. When I was testing out HoneyBooks back in 2019, I was seeing how easy it is for my existing clients to navigate into the payment portal, make a payment, or approve a proposal, or accept an invoice, or things like that. None of them had any problems. And I have some clients, bless them, that are not very tech savvy, right? That's why they're hiring me to help them with some of the technical internet-y marketing sides of their business, but they were able to also navigate it. So for me, that's the true test, right? Like they can go in and get me money easily. So with the automations for those things, HoneyBook has even recently integrated a lot more smart contracting, so you can set up templates and forms that go automatically to existing clients, or build out templates that you can just with a couple clicks set up to go to new clients. That's so time saving. And really, really awesome just in general. Sorry, my table is violently shaking every time I move. We'll survive. But getting those proposals to people really quickly when they're new clients, it's a level of professionalism, right? And it also helps you get your dollars faster. I cannot tell you how many times I've talked to business owners that don't have a way for people to pay them set up. And I'm not even talking like freelancers. I'm talking, people who have product-based businesses and maybe their e-commerce isn't as streamlined as it should be, or they're just taking orders through Instagram DMs and then, like sending people their PayPal info. And like, that's fine. We all start somewhere. But when you are going to be investing more time in chasing that money than you are in creating the product or service, that's a big red flag. That's a big problem area for your business. So looking at ways to automate and streamline the getting money process, number 1 on your to-do list if you're thinking about automating parts of your business. Number 2, and I'm ranking these in importance to me. This is completely arbitrary. So top of importance is get that bag, right? Automate the money. 2, most important, scheduling. I want to be able to send over a link, have the client look at my calendar, figure their life out, book a time, and then I don't have to do anything. It populates onto my calendar, they get reminders set up, all of those things. I don't have time to go back and forth and be like, does next Tuesday work for you? Like, no. I also am really bad at time zones. I understand the concept. I get it. I get the earth is round. I understand all of it, but I really struggle with remembering who is in what time zone and what the difference in times is. So when there's a tool where they can go in and see things in their own time zone, compare against their own calendar, and I don't have to be like, oh, are you Pacific or Eastern time, and deal with messing my brain up that much, it's a win, right? So there are tons of tools to do scheduling. There's Calendly, TidyCal. I use the tool that's integrated into, guess what? HoneyBook. It's awesome. It's really streamlined and it integrates with my Google Calendar. So I can go in there and set my available hours. It pulls the information from my Google Calendar. So if there's other appointments that weren't made through HoneyBook, it's not going to let people book at those times. So having that synchronized has saved me so many overbookings and also allowed clients to have a really, really good experience in like, we're not wasting time going back and forth. They see when my availability is, they know what works for them. We have an appointment. It's really sped up my onboarding process too, being able to go from like initial inquiry to, okay, we definitely want to book some time together. Here's the link, go. That has cut down communication time so much. And the faster I can determine if somebody is a good fit or not for working with me, the faster that we can get to doing the work and they can get their service and I can get paid, right? Like, again, going back to that number one thing, getting that money. Number 3 on the importance scale of things to automate within your business. I'm a marketing nerd, so this is crazy that this didn't make it up higher, but like money and time are very important to me. 3 on this list of things to look at automating for your small or freelance business, email marketing. If you're not already automating it, please look at doing it. There are tons of services to do this. There's Zendesk, there's Constant Contact, MailChimp, MailerLite, like millions, literally millions of email providing services where you can schedule out marketing campaigns, build out automations. It's a really overlooked marketing tool that doesn't take a lot of time to set up. It takes time to set up, but not as much as, say, developing a really good content plan for social media or creating a YouTube video or things like that. Having an email campaign that you can schedule out monthly or set up an automation for when somebody subscribes, what are they getting right away? When you can be strategic and use those automations, people are getting a branded experience from you and multiple personalized touch points before you even have to go in and like lift a finger and have a conversation with them. So you're building that relationship in an automated way. Like, yes, it takes time to set up in the beginning, but it's so worth it. I can't tell you the number of times that I've ended up with a client just because of the welcome sequence that I have set up for my email marketing campaigns. So I use Constant Contact for that. It's my personal fave. There are so many different options out there. I'm a nerd and went through Constant Contact's like education portal, like to become a partner. So links down below. There's links for a bunch of this stuff if you're interested in checking them out. If you ever have questions about any of these platforms I'm going to talk about and want to see the like nitty gritty, like good, bad, and ugly, hit me up. Send me a message here or a comment here. Message me on LinkedIn. Like, I'll tell you all the things. I'm going to give you an honest review of the automation experience, especially the setup side, right? Sometimes people are afraid of automating different parts of their business because of the time it takes to set it up. I'm not going to lie to you. Some of these take time. Some of these take significant time. But the return on that time investment is a easier experience for you as a business owner and a way more professional and streamlined experience for your clients. Win-win, in my opinion, after having come through the somewhat arduous setup period. All right, moving on. Marketing nerd alert. Number 4, most important thing to automate for your brand is your content marketing. If you are posting on social media on any platform, you should be scheduling your posts in advance. Posting in real time is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, except it can suck you in. And if you don't have a plan of what you're going to post, you are going to be scrolling. I can guarantee. That's the way the apps are built. If If you go in, make a post, get off the app, and move on with your life, that's super. Most of us aren't going to do that. Most of us don't have that level of self-control. So making sure that you have a tool that puts you at least a layer away from ending up in that content feed and getting sucked in and wasting a bunch of time on social media, having a tool that does that is going to improve productivity, your mental health, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, this is my soapbox of having ways to use social marketing that are mental health positive. So the tools that I use for automating my content marketing are Later and Zapier. Zapier can help you share existing content across other platforms. It's an automation tool where it's kind of a if this, then that. If I post a YouTube video, then email this segment of my email list. That's super awesome and really, really helpful and can absolutely make your life a bazillion times easier. Now, Later is my absolute favorite social media scheduling tool. Their free plan is really robust if you want to try it out, and their paid plans are logical price jumps for the amount of functionality that you get with each thing. That's key because there are a lot of other platforms that have a free plan that's maybe less robust than Later's, but the next price jump doesn't make sense for most freelancers or business owners. It's a huge cost increase from free to whatever the first plan is, or even from like a starter plan to the next tier. The cost can be a really big jump. If you are able to financially do that, awesome. Most freelancers I know want to try a tool before they invest a ton of money. Later is your way to do that. Another contender is Agorapulse. I would recommend that more for people who are marketing agency side, right? Like if you're managing multiple social presences as a part of your day-to-day work, that would be the tool that I would look into. I'm starting to use that platform for some of my own like brand and clients that I'm working with, but 9 times out of 10 I'm on Later. So it's definitely a tool I use and love, and it makes scheduling your social media posts really, really fast across multiple platforms. So A+, seal of approval, love that. Love that for us. You're going to enjoy it as well. Number 5, and while this is the least of my tier, like hierarchy of top 5, it still made the cut to top 5. It's really, really important, and it's totally changed how my business functions. So this is automating your onboarding and vetting process. It's going to look really different for all sorts of different industries, but identify some of the things that are like absolute green flags for clients and absolute red flags. So for me, I'll use my brand as an example today. One of the absolute red flags for a potential client is they're bad at communicating and they don't get me what I need on time to complete the project. So the way that I vet for that is actually within my onboarding process. I have an inquiry form that most people who are new to me will either email me and say, I'd like to work with you. I send them to that form, or they fill it out on my website. It's on my homepage. This is a form that's built out through Honeybook. Once that form is filled out, if they've selected certain types of projects they're interested in, they're going to get a questionnaire specific to that type of project. So whether that's social media strategy and management, website building, branding, whatever, or speaking, if they're looking for a speaker, those forms that select one of those types of projects are going to get immediately a follow-up questionnaire to their email that says, I will not be contacting you. It says it much nicer than this, but I will not be contacting you until you fill this out. Like, we can't proceed to the next steps until you fill this questionnaire out. I have a 2-day reminder set, so 48 hours after that questionnaire goes out, if I can see if they've read it, like if they've seen the email. If it's unread, I usually let it sit for a second, another day or two. But if it's read and they haven't filled out the questionnaire yet, which takes less than 5 minutes, it's harsh, but like I'm not going to babysit. I'm not going to email them back and say, please fill out the questionnaire. Because if I am already pulling teeth for the first part of the process, which is a really basic, do you have a Pinterest? Like, it's an easy form to fill out. If they're not filling it out, we're not going to work together. I'm not going to reach back out. So that's a vetting process that I use through an automatic onboarding. Now, if they do fill the questionnaire form out and they get back to me and I read the responses, I'm like, okay, we've already started onboarding because I've set, kind of the basic principles of like, here's how we're going to work together. We're going to communicate. As well as I've gotten additional information about the potential project. So usually from that onboarding inquiry form, I can see like, okay, yes, this is definitely worth a follow-up conversation, or no, this is outside my skill set and I need to refer them to somebody, or I know nothing else because they actually didn't fill out this questionnaire properly and that's concerning. So maybe I need to ask a follow-up question, or maybe I need to say, no, thank you, goodbye. Those things have saved me so much time and conversation with people. The onboarding form itself has taken my onboarding process from 72 plus hours back and forth of emails, right? Like waiting over 3 days, not 72 hours straight, but like 3 days, right? Like, hi, I want to hire you. Okay, what do you want to hire me for? I don't know, maybe a website. Do you already have a website? Yeah, it's here, it's ugly, or like, whatever. It takes all of that and distills it down into potentially a 5 to 10 minute experience where I then know almost immediately whether or not I'm a good fit to work for this person. That's huge. And that results in so much better relationships with people. And it wastes so much less time of my time and the potential client's time. Because if I end up in a Zoom meeting with somebody and at the end of it, I'm like, I can't work with you because I don't have the skills, or we're not a good fit, or you need something else for this project than what I anticipated. I should know that before we're meeting. And with this process that I've set up and automated, I usually do. That's the whole goal of automation, not to make your business be run by robots, but to make the experience better for both yourself and your clients. Because when you free up some of those bottleneck, like busy work tasks, and you aren't dedicating that time to like doing some of the basic early stuff with a client, you can go in and give them so much more personal attention when you're doing a discovery call or your first one-on-one, or you're providing services for them. You can also reinvest that time in making better products and running your business. I see a lot of pushback of like, oh, don't automate everything. Like, absolutely don't, right? You're a human, you're a person, you're running a business. But there are certain things that you can take off your plate to run your business in a more client-centric way. Does that make sense? Yes, of course it does. Let's talk in the comments about which of these automations you either already use or are most excited about using. And tell me what I missed. What would be on your top 5 for business automations? And until next time, stay badass.